more you can learn how to avoid it better, the more you learn how to run from it better, the more you learn how to forget about it better, that you're healed. Well, I haven't thought about it in a while. That's not how you heal. You heal by going through it. That's what people don't get. It's almost like if you think of someone who's been on drugs for a very long time, they can sit back and try to forget their addiction and try not to think about their addiction. And what the point is that in order for them to come out, in order for them to come out of that addiction, they're going to have to go through it. That means they're going to have to go through the withdrawals. They're going to have to take that pain. And they're going to have to understand the most important thing ever is that they're not going to die. That they're going to make it through the pain. That there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that they're going to make it through it. And it's just right there in front of them. And if they can understand that after they don't fallen, that they can get back up. So a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people get knocked down, but they forget they got the power to get back up. And that's where it is. You gotta know when to fight. Gotta know when to fight. And you gotta know when to fight with everything that you got. So, when it comes down to healing spiritually and from past relationships and so on and so forth, I will tell you this: don't avoid your emotions. That is a part of you. Your past is also a part of you. Understand that. I know we have all of these cute little memes and saying, and the past is gone and yesterday as it came and we only have the now. That is true. But also, okay, your now is a compository of everything that is you. I hope I said that to the best of my ability. What I'm saying is that even though, yes, the past itself is gone, it is still a memory. That memory is attached to your DNA. It is a part of you. It is also some of the things that are shaped and that molds you. It's almost like, I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Butterfly Effect. If you haven't watched it, it's a good movie. It's like this: if you change anything in the movie, if you change anything in the past, it alters the future. Just like also the movie, my friend was telling me about it, saying that it was similar to the movie The Butterfly Effect. Bathtub Time Machine or something. You guys know what I'm talking about. I think it's a comedy. I think it's called Bathtub Time Machine or something like that. But anyway, if you alter something in the past, it also changes the future. Everything lines up exactly to what it needs to be. And mind you, all things are perfect by design, and we can get into that in a future video of it's why I say that. And everything in your life has led up to the moment that you are now presently in. Even in listening to this video, everything in your life led up to this moment. You needed to hear this. That's why you were here. If you didn't need to hear this, I promise you this, you wouldn't be here. Out of every video that you could have picked, you picked this one. Okay. But anyway, I'm not trying to get into all of that. So with that being said, just like I said, everything, you are everything. You're not separate from anything. One in a whole, you are everything. Okay. So anyway, going back to the healing, because we like to do this. We take how we feel and we want to go put it in a box, and we think we could separate that from ourselves, when in totality that is a part of us. So if there is something there that needs to heal, if there is a flower there that is withering and needs water, that needs love, you need to give yourself what you need. But in order to find out what you need, you must know thyself. If you don't know that you're missing $100 out of your pocket, how can you miss it? How can you know that you need it if you don't know what it is that you need? Common sense, it spreads a long way. This simple practicality, just simple thinking sometimes could take you a very long way. It doesn't have to be as complicated as, I could get on here and be all complicated and scientific, but it defeats the purpose. You don't understand what I'm talking about. So I try and keep my messages as simple as possible. Don't neglect yourself. When you neglect how you feel and you take certain aspects about yourself and you push it off to the side and you try and pretend like it doesn't exist, sometimes they can backfire on you in the worst way. And what I mean by that is that, it's like Curious George. Just say one of your emotions. We're just going to nickname him, for instance, Curious George. You go take that emotion and you go put him in a cage, And this emotion here is grief, okay? This emotion here, we're going to identify it and we're going to objectify it. This emotion here is grief. And now we're going to objectify it. And it has a name, Curious George. Okay, cute little Curious George. Okay, he's in the cage. Okay, you stick them in there, and here it is, 2016, and you come back 5 years later in 2021. I don't think I did that math right. I hope I did. But anyway, you come back 5 years later, it's 2021. And it's not Curious George anymore. This is King Kong. What happened to Curious George? Curious George evolved into something more. He's no longer grief anymore. He's despair, grief, and anger. Now he's angry. So what I'm getting at is that you cannot neglect yourself. It's still there, and it just grows and it festers and it gets worse. Even underneath the surface, it's like looking at water and you think it's still on top, but there's an undercurrent. Get in that water and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's an undercurrent. It looks still on the top. That's how a lot of people end up getting, a lot of people drown in these rivers and stuff, and reservoirs and so on and so forth when they go out, because they think that it's all peaceful and still, because they're looking at the surface, but they don't understand or have a recollection of what's going on under that surface. Underneath that surface is not only is there a current, but hell, there could even be past bodies, alligators, and sharks. But you catch my analogy. Okay. So, take the time to heal. Because if you really want a relationship that is worthwhile, then you need to be at your fullest potential. Or at least on your way. At least have a mindset of that's where you're going. And I'm telling you, to be the most awesome thing that you've ever experienced in your life. But it's hard for you to experience all of these beautiful things when you're still holding on to all of these other things that are holding you back. Makes sense? So you gotta learn how to let go. And in order to let go of something, you gotta understand something. If you have it, it's for a reason. That grief, that anger, that hurt, that pain is there for a reason. And you gotta understand what the reason is. It's almost like a test or a lesson. You will remain taking the same test over and over and over and over again until you pass it. If you want to graduate to the next level, to the next phase of your life, you got to pass the test that you are currently in. If you're flunking the test because you refuse to deal with yourself, I promise you this, you will never graduate to the next phase of your life. You will remain on whatever level that you're on. Until you do what you need to do that is required of you, by you, to pass, to move on. We say these words, let it, you just let it go. And I know that sounds all simple, but you can't let it go until it serves its purpose. It's there with you for a reason. That grief, that pain, that anger, whatever it is that you're feeling, is there with you for a reason. And it will never go anywhere until it has served its purpose. So you need to find out what the purpose is. Okay. And that's just a little bit on healing, spiritually. And people, we need to understand, a very simple concept, but so above, so below. It's spiritual then physical. So a man thinketh, so is he. And that is the truth. If you don't think to be a lawyer, if you don't think to be a doctor, if you don't think to be whatever it is in life that you choose to be, you will never become that. You will never be that. It's always thought first. Remember that. Thought. The mind is all, the universe is mental. And I think I'm going to leave there. I'll come back and touch on this a little bit more. It's very early in the morning. I'm still trying to wake up here. So I really hope that you received the message, and I really hope that whatever it is that you needed, whatever it is that you came here for, that you just got it. And that you take it, and you take it all the way. Take it all the way. Slam dunk on it. For real. Go all in. You know, and really go all in yourself. And find out what it is that you need and that you want. What are your desires? If you could only pick one desire in this life, what would it be? If you could only just pick one. See, these are some of the things that you should write down in a journal. I'm telling you, you'll find out some things about yourself. Some of the things that you thought you wanted, you didn't want. Some of the things you thought you needed, you didn't need. And do some of those test runs. Check it with the music. Everybody got a song that makes them feel some type of way. Believe me. So anyway, you know, and I still do it from time to time. I go back and I check on myself. And I will also say this, in the process of healing, find a song from your childhood that just makes you feel awesome. That you're just happy every time you sing, and it takes you to that awesome childlike place where you're free. And I tell you, when you're doing your, you know, your meditation and you're working on your healing process, turn to that song. Let it work with you. Let it work with you. And I'll come back and I'll share some more about how that works and how that process is truly effective. Truly effective. I've seen grand things from this with some of the people that I work with, and they're like, I never knew. And I'm like, I didn't either until I did it. So, with that being said, I leave you with this: peace, love, prosperity, and all those beautiful things. Ashe and namaste, love. I will see you in my next video, beloved.